Tell me, honey, is it really all about the ass?
For sure.
Jasmine is not Serena or Megan the Stallion, and whatever Jasmine got going on, he needs to put aside the streets and deal with the here and now and the woman before him. I have no idea if you can escape once a brother puts you in that friend zone, but we shall see.
Welcome to Cliff Alerts. Today we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 16, episode number 6.
But before we get into it, please like, share, subscribe. If you like what you see, please share your this channel with your friends and family, and please send us your comments. We still appreciate your support.
No question.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So what we got going on here? We start off with
Dom
Dom
and Mac,
and Mac
pillow talking.
pillow talking, and Mac is running a line on Dom. She, of course, is an adventurer. They're gonna be doing horseback riding, and she's excited. And Mac decides to mama guy her and tell her that he's been on a horse before and he's been riding since he was a child, and it was not an accurate statement.
Yeah, he's got, to me, a weird sense of humor.
Yeah,
Um,
corny.
uh, I think he thinks that Dominique is supposed to get his sense of humor, but they
Hmm.
just met each other.
Right.
So that's not really realistic an expectation on his part. But separate and aside from that, why can't he just understand that not only is this a new process, but be adventurous and be open to it, in
Right.
whatever fullness he can muster, so that he, once he's been through it, he has no regrets.
It reminds me of, when you were a child, the little boys following you around and saying some stupidish. Mac reminds me of that. The corny jokes, not knowing when to speak and when to not say anything. Sometimes corny works. You gotta know the time and place for everything.
Yeah, and it seems like he has yet to learn those boundaries with his new wife, but that's okay. I think the longer he goes on, the longer they take to get to know one another, those boundaries and those lines will become clearer.
Okay. Gina and Clint are out in the pool and they're having a floating breakfast.
Yeah.
Looks kind of fun to me. I like what I see. They're still discussing why they're not attracted to each other. I don't know if she wants him to invest in her salon, but I mean, she is just talking about this business stuff and it's getting old for Clint. Hear something different out of her than maybe who she is, maybe bring out her flirtatious side, put the girls on him in the pool and see what happens. But it's a non-starter. She's just talking about the business, so I will be bored quick, fast, and in a hurry if it was me.
Well, I think she needs to understand that her salon and business and all that is what she does, and yeah, there are remnants of who she is in it, but it's not who she is for
I,
the majority of it. It's what she does and the creative part of how it got started, blah blah blah. But it's not the core and the essence of who she is. Parts of that are manifested, within her, but it's not who she is. It's not the total makeup.
Aries and Jasmine are getting a massage. Jasmine got dressed and she gave Aries a massage.
Foot. They're starting with the foots, the dogs.
And she is touching him, and she's still caught up with him saying that he's never been in love. And everything he's saying to her, she asks about how their relationship is, and he said told her something about, oh, he's taking his time, and that didn't float her boat, so to speak, because she still remembered him asking her about her sexual position some days before. So she thinks probably his affections are winding down rather than revving up, and I don't think she appreciated that at all.
No, I don't think so either. But that's kind of like his way to kind of deflect what I believe is maybe pressure that he feels to move forward in terms of getting closer as husband and wife.
Well, the pressure he feels is the brother said he's been hyper focused on sex, so he he may be thinking about the streets.
Yeah, it kind of makes me reconsider whether or not Airris was really sincere when he talked about him being ready with his cousin Fallon, I believe it was,
Hmm.
as to this whole notion or idea of being married.
Well, he doesn't know until he knows, you know what I mean? We all have a learning curve when we do enter marriage. You don't know everything, and
No,
people tell you lies one way or the other. You got to experience it for yourself if that's the way road you want to travel.
right,
But at least you open yourself to it. You don't focus on something else while the person is right in front of you. You deal with the person where they are in the here and now. That's why you signed up for this show,
right.
because you already know this is an accelerated process. So the things that would happen in normal life, that's not the case here.
Chris and Nicole was all laid up in the hammock in the between the coconut trees, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and they're still talking about, he wants her to know that he believes he's sexually attracted to her and vice versa, because he told her about relationships where he had no sex, the one that they were on and popping, and he felt that imbalance, so he wants something that's balanced. Both of them want each other to articulate how they make each other feel.
Right. Very, very key on building the emotional
Emotional
relationship.
relation rather than the
Right,
physical.
and then having that lead to the physical
Right,
intimacy.
right. But again, I find it troubling that these people continue to talk about past relationships.
Mhm.
I don't want to hear about who you slept with, and I'm not about to share who I had spent time with.
Are they really that important in,
To say now,
right,
there's a time for
exactly.
everything.
And
And
that's what
is
I was
that
gonna say.
time appropriate now?
Exactly, that's where I was going with it.
You know what
Yep.
I mean?
Yeah, maybe down the line, but not now, not so early in this process. Then all the couples converge to share their experiences so far.
Clinton Gina had an exchange. They asked Gina how they're doing. And she starts off with, "Oh, we're not attracted to each other." And she has dated um people before who looks like Clint, and she wasn't attractive. However, as the relationship went on, that changed. So she is looking forward to continuing Clint and her relationship to see how far they can go in this process. And what does Clint say?
Well, Clint actually makes a huge mistake, as far as I'm concerned, by talking about his wife's uh, weight and or the type body type that she has in comparison to what he has been attracted to in prior relationships.
No, 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 my brother. He did not talk about Gina's weight. His words are very clear. In the past, typically he dates slender, um, athletic women. It is about high time women, regardless of size, regardless of who has what, who got a Serena, who got a Jasmine, who got some TNA, who got some bits, who got some pieces. It's time we stand in who we are and know that we're beautiful, regardless what other people have to say about us. Regina, certainly, girl, you're not slender. You have a mirror just like we do. A
Yeah,
camera may add 10, 20 pounds, but you got some hips and bits. And my thing is you love your hips and bits. That's you. That's all you.
yep,
You don't have to say you're slender when you're not. Again, unless you have a problem with who you are right now, you're going to have to know that you're beautiful. You are beautiful and wonderfully made. When you look in that mirror, see the God that's in you, and you can't hate God looking back at you.
because she had done that, once individually,
Right.
and when they were one on one, and then she chose to kind
To
of
bring it
revisit
up.
that conversation that they had personally in a group setting. He could have not said what he said, the way he said it, in an effort to kind of diffuse the situation, even though he was being attacked by his spouse.
I think that both of them needed to keep that conversation about them not being attracted to each other between both of them. I think that Clint responded in the way he responded because there were men sitting around listening to her tell everyone that he was, as Ira said, low key ugly. How is a man going to respond to that? You and I can have conversations at the house, hard conversations, but out in public, I'm not going to put you on blast. That's not going to happen.
No, and even if you do, if I, were to kind of in kind respond, it wouldn't be a good look, neither individually nor as a couple.
There's an expectation that Clint should cover Gina based on his response, but Gina doesn't cover Clint because one way or the other, saying someone is a ginger, and she may not know that it's a slur, but it absolutely is.
Well, I don't think she understands just the part that you referenced earlier about how married people, are supposed to cover for one another.
Right.
I don't think that she's made it to that point yet because of the process, but I think you're absolutely right. I think that she wanted her to be covered by Clint,
Hmm.
but she did not want to do so when she had the opportunity to cover him.
This is not who I date. He didn't talk about her. He said, typically, this is not who I date. And not only she got offended, but the rest of the women got offended as well. He wasn't talking about them. He was talking about his experience and who he dates, just like she was talking to him, saying that she doesn't think he's yuck. He's a yuck fest. However, she's not attracted to that. How is she able to say that and he can't say what he typically likes? You see how it's a double standard?
No question about it. That's exactly what I was going to say. But I think also too, there is this kind of notion that hey, look, if you've been around any length of time, then you ought to know or have some sense as an adult of what to say and what not to say, and when to say it
Th-
and when not to say
That's why that conversation should have been between them.
it. Hmm.
That's why she should not have introduced that they're not attracted to each other. That was unnecessary.
Agreed.
Just like he needed to sort of censor his words, she could have said we have some challenges but we're working through,
Yeah,
and that ginger stuff stayed in his craw. And once she introduced that we're not attracted to each other, she sent up some smoke, but he had some fire and he used it. And I'm just tired of everyone being offended in the group when he really wasn't talking about everyone. There's a context to what he was saying.
I agree. I agree. There was context as it relates to what he was saying, but I don't think that the rest of the ladies heard that context.
Not saying that he should not have been polite and respectful, but again, he was talking about who he is accustomed dealing with.
I understand.
And he said athletic and he said slender.
Hmm.
If you got a fat ass, love that fat ass. That's all I'm going to say.
Hmm. Amen, sister. I know. Got a witness out there. Anyway, then the group goes horseback riding, right?
Yeah, that looked like fun though.
Hell yeah, that looked like fun.
Probably, but he gotta just
Yeah,
let go,
because
and
his
just enjoy yourself.
interesting sense of humor, can end up being a wet blanket
Of course,
for a spouse and maybe even for others who pick up on that.
gotta start
I'm just saying.
moving beyond the stuff that we accustomed to
Your
and doing
your
something
inhibitions and just having fun and
having fun.
yeah,
Having fun. You're gonna
exactly.
be covered. God is still on the throne,
Yeah, yeah,
so we can have fun.
yeah. And then I think Airris and Jasmine kind of hook up and connect, right? And then they're talking about you know what happened in the group setting with Clint and Gina.
Yeah, but beyond that, they talked about their situation, and Jasmine again brought up that her fears, and she got to know her fears are lies, and she's fearful that she may um fall for Airris because she loves easily
Harris did admit that he has been in the past, how should we say it, hyper focused
on sex,
on
and how he likes that big boom C.
smashing, yeah, on smashing, right.
He likes that boom C and he likes it big. So,
Yeah,
and
he made that very clear, didn't he?
Jasmine don't have anything near Serena or Megan the Stallion.
But that's okay. That's
That's
okay.
okay, but it
Right.
may not be okay for him.
He has to become, something a little different because it's not just him anymore. It's him and his significant
Well, he
other.
did say he is trying to change because it has
Exactly.
not been leading him in the right
He's not
direction.
single anymore.
And
To me, he's got to get out of his head and get into his reality, the reality of the situation that he's in, and be okay with that. So later on that day, Clint and Gina kind of got together and kind of talked on the swings about, I guess that it was a day's events, and Gina had kind of been a little salty about the remark that she felt Clinton made in front of the group about, just this whole notion of being slender and athletic.
well, the point is this: why didn't she speak up? To me, passive aggressive behavior is a non-starter. He kept talking clearly. He could feel something was wrong. He could feel her vibration, and her only response was yes. And a brother gotta know, if a woman just saying yes and looking away from you and mean mugging you, something clearly is wrong.
That's surely what was going on. So
So the
it,
following
it
day,
was kind of a wasted opportunity as far as I'm concerned.
I would think so. Why go to bed with that mustard on your chest?
Kirsten and Shat, they decided to go to meet with a couple of dance hall instructors, huh?
Yeah, they did some dance hall moves, which is the PG version,
Oh my goodness.
because anybody who's been in the dance hall scene, oh my God.
I think she's beginning to understand that, um, hey, look, this guy is trying, he's making an effort. And, as I get to know more and more about him, I like what I see. He's becoming more and more attractive.
Yeah.
Nicole and Chris go kayaking.
Yeah, Nicole talked about her pet peeves being splashed in the face while she's at the pool or someone slow walking in front of her. But hey, it's a personal choice, so just when you see Nicole coming, get out of the way.
Yeah, because chances are she power walking.
You better believe it.
Mm, mm.
Chris admits that he washes once a month, and he admitted the dogs sleep in the bed with him once a month. Could you imagine the bugs that are eating the dead skin?
I don't need to hear all that. Really don't need to hear all that kind of detail. So if you would, like Nephew Thomas, if you would not say anything about that anymore,
Bitten them.
that's buzzing nasty. Why are you doing that?
So, pray tell, does that mean does he does he have 30 pairs of drawers?
No, no.
I'm just asking for a friend. I will check his underwear drawer, girl.
Oh no. Perfect time for the women to have like a ladies kind of meeting on the beach, and likewise for the fellas, and that's what happened, so they could kind of bond and reconnect on their experiences of on their individual experiences of being married to a stranger, and
Right,
what it's been like in an individual case basis, and
right.
just kind of catch up with one another and support one another, both on the women's side and on the men's side.
And the biggest thing going on for the ladies is, of course, Clint's conversation as it relates to dating at athletic women. Nicole wanted to stab him in the neck.
And through.
Um, Dominique she was just outdone.
Yeah, Jasmine says
Jasmine
she's no longer
she
checking
no
for him.
longer checking for him. And I think Kristen said something. she so appreciates her, holding back and not saying anything.
Yeah, and
Again,
Nicole went one step further. She called him a Johnson.
yeah. Again, what he said is he's accustomed dating slender and athletic people.
Could have been handled differently by them. I mean, women talk just like guys talk. So, I guess, the other ladies were offended by it, and I think that I guess they had a right to be. Nobody's arguing that. But
No, they
again,
didn't have a right to be. He wasn't talking about them.
I know that, but I think that they felt like they had a right to be. So,
Okay.
so if they feel like they have a right to be, then they have a right to be.
Okay.
You know. But and then some of the guys were talking about their experiences and couple things that happened on that on the from the guy's side that I guess kind of raised more than an eyebrow for me. One, it was Airris, that's kind of said that he's getting used to the idea of being married to Jasmine, so forth and so on. And he said that he feels like Jasmine feels like on a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 12 in in her mind, right? But in his mind about what she is, it's like what is it, 4 or 5,
Three, four,
5,
3, 4.
yeah, somewhere along there.
He's not feeling her.
Mac was basically saying that he thought that Clinton was crazy because he felt like Gina is sexy, or talking about something as it relates to his observations and feelings and contentions that are based in sexuality.
Well, it's clear based on his statement that he has been making an observation of Gina's bits and pieces,
Right,
and his evaluation was that she was sexy,
right, which
and
means
that's why it's
inappropriate. If
inappropriate.
he had if he had said beautiful, I think that would have been within the
Well,
line.
she's beautiful.
Right,
You don't
right,
have to say the
right. He didn't
sexy
have
part.
to. Right, he didn't have to go on any more than that. That would have been appropriate.
Yeah, doesn't work, revert to plan B,
Hmm.
which means the proximity of the toy store from the resort. And she got that covered.
Right, she on it.
So all is well with her in her world
Mm.
because she got some top tier stuff.
Hmm.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Hmm.
Okay, who else we have now?
Then we go to Gina talks about Clint's remark about his past relationship. Well,
And we're going to the next event. What's that? I think it's
yeah.
Airris.
Well, Mac and Dom do a name carving. Mac apologizes for joking.
Mac and Dom do a nail carving in a bamboo tree that's on the resort, which I thought was a cute idea. They can always revisit the resort and see their names on it. And he decided that he should apologize because he's bringing down the vibe between them with him complaining and being sort of resistant to doing fully the activities presented to them.
Right, and since he hasn't really established a clear sense of humor that is understandable to
Her,
Dom.
she got
He
some
needs to
issues.
pull. He needs to pull up basically.
Yeah, but
Shaq and Kirsten had got a chance to talk. I think they were talking on what looked like a bridge or something like that.
yeah, and Shaq unfortunately sort of like sold all of Airris tapes because when Kristen asked what was being said, Kristen talked about the comments, Clint's comments to Gina and what their thoughts on it. She also mentioned that this is when Shaq decides to say that Iris too thinks that he's not attracted to Jasmine,
The
and
way that she's attracted to him, and that
he's not
he's
feeling
not
her.
feeling that
and
way.
and Jasmine and the other ladies believe that because he told her she is beautiful, he his
Been
feelings were going in one direction, but now Shaq is saying that he's not feeling her at all. I gotta throw the flag on Shaq because the only reason why he told Kristen is to get some sort of prop. and he should not divulge information he learned with the men group setting, back to his wife because he wanted to get favor from her. That's just my take on it. Because all in all, Aris may not be there yet, but he is still trying to preserve Jasmine's feelings by telling her all this good stuff.
Hmm.
So he does have some sort of heart.
Hmm.
He doesn't want to uncover her. He is trying to cover her. But Shaq telling Kristen that piece of information, I'm sure the word is going to get back to Jasmine on that.
Yeah, no question about that. And also, too, they also talked about, just this whole notion of, guys and their sense of humor. It seems like Shaq does not believe and or feel that Kirsten, his wife, understands his sense of humor either.
She doesn't. She thinks he's corny. He did admit that he makes some corny jokes. He loves enjoying himself, and it's just a situation of them knowing each other. I mean, sometimes I think men make more corny jokes than women because they overcompensate.
Hmm.
And I think that's what he's doing. He's overcompensating because she too told him that she wasn't attracted to him. She's not feeling the ball head.
Hmm.
So he's trying to overcompensate by the humor and what have you. So,
Yeah, because he was saying that in the context of him being himself, and if she doesn't necessarily like that,
well, what
then
do you like?
right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, that's part of who he is.
You
So
don't like how I look. You don't like my jokes. So,
right,
what do you like?
right. What do you like?
So,
And she says, just be you, but that's part of who I am. So if you don't like, then by natural progression, do you not like me?
well, she thinks that he talks at her rather than to her.
Yes.
When a man is dating you for the first time, he will make a couple of corny jokes every now and then.
Right.
We know that.
And sisters, too many sisters help him out by laughing at his.
Yeah, we love to compensate, but we know it's a corny
Right.
as the days long.
Right. What? Oh, you trying to say something? Oh, why y'all laughing out there? That ain't funny. Anyway, anyway, um, Jasmine and Eris meet on the beach and have an interesting conversation on the
Yeah.
beach.
Jasmine tells Eris about the lies that she's believing, that she is, that she termed as fear, but it's really lies about loving him and he doesn't return the favor.
And
And
being afraid of what might happen.
right, being vulnerable and afraid of what's happening may or may not happen. Again, a lie. She's not there yet. So if you're not there yet, stick to the here and now. Stick to, hey,
Let it
me and this good-looking man are on the beach. We kicking back an adult cocktail. I feel the wind. You know what I'm
and
saying?
try not to be overly complicated so early.
Yes. And thought I saw fear in his face that this girl is going off because she tells him, "Oh, I love easily," and I thought that was a little bit low grade manipulative when she said that to him because he then has to compensate what he is saying to her. So I didn't appreciate that, but that's just me. He seemed to me to be a little fearful when he understand and recognize exactly what he signed up for. This is a long term process, and he's already not feeling her in that way. He doesn't know what will happen next. He seemed like he hasn't moved towards her. He is now standing still.
I think he was not expecting that or anticipating that, even though they are married. What the what you know came at him in the way of conversation from her. I agree with you. It was a little manipulative on her part, trying to push him in the direction that she wants him to
Mhm.
go instead of having it evolve to that point.
That it
eh,
happened. She wants to guide
Right,
it.
she wants to force fit it, so to speak. and that's not the way it happens. It happens authentically, not, it's not manufactured that way.
And that kind of thing doesn't work.
Right.
And if it works for only a short period of time.
Right, and maybe she doesn't understand that. Maybe she's a little impatient based on the fact that she says she loves easily, and that's what. Now that they're married, that's supposed to be where they are. So she's
Well,
trying to push that point, and now not really understanding that. Hey, look, what you're doing is the process in reverse.
well, I think that if Jasmine believes that she loves Easy, she needs to change that up. Because this is what happens in a relationship. The representative shows up and he brings his best game forward.
Mhm.
But behind that is the real person.
Exactly.
So you gotta sit back in the cut and watch this dude and watch how he plays himself out, how he deals with people, if he has integrity. But if you're saying that you love quickly, that means that he show up in 7 days and you're already falling.
Right, and see, that's not a thing to,
You don't know him. You know a fantasy of who you think he is,
or his
or
what
his
his
representative.
representative has chosen to show
Exactly.
you. Even if you have it, it's not a good thing to have, but I think it's even worse to divulge it.
Can you imagine you continuously falling in love with the wrong person?
People take advantage of that,
It's
and see, that's why it's not. I mean, she's setting herself up to be,
a
you know,
lot of hurt.
yeah, to constantly taken advantage of by unscrupulous people who.
I know from experience you can't be stuck on stupid all the time. That gets old and it takes too much out of you emotionally. So after a while you just gotta say have a hard conversation with self. We gotta sit back and watch this dude and watch what he's doing, watch how he talks to people, because if he talks to people sideways, he's gonna talk to you sideways.
Mhm.
If he steals, he's gonna steal from you. If he doesn't have any integrity, he's gonna rob you blind.
He said that he's willing to go through the peaks and valleys, to get to where, they want and or need to be.
And I appreciate that because again, he's still trying to cover her.
Then we get to Gina and Clint. And they meet on a beachside, and Gina's still salty from the day before, in terms of what Clint chose to divulge about his personal preferences and the timing of it, blah blah blah. And Gina kind of got had the night to I guess build up her sodium level as it relates to that, and she had time to process it and decided she was going to address it with her hubby on the beach. Boy, did she stick her foot into it.
Well, she told him what her thoughts are and how she felt that she was offended. Fine.
Yeah,
She articulated it finally, and he heard her,
he heard her.
and he responded in kind, saying, "Hey, listen, this is not um what you being offended is not what I was trying to do.
His intent.
This I was just talking about what I typically do.
Yes,
That that wasn't good." She pivoted to all the other women were offended. He said, "Well, I was not trying to do that.
and if
Again, if I did that, it's not what I was trying to do."
right, and he did take ownership of it and
Right.
apologize to her
Apologize to her.
for offending her.
Oh, and the woman as
Did
well.
he say the woman as well? Okay, okay.
Then he come, she elevated a third time. She said, "Well, I just don't understand. I need a man who could read the room." And clearly, you did not have any understanding of that. So, you know, you still offended me. Now, she said she needs a man who reads the room. She pointed that out to him. He said, "Okay, I see what you're saying. I apologize for that." So when is she gonna accept the apology or hear exactly what he's saying? Now I know the implication is that because he mentioned slender and athletic, the implication is that she is not slender, nor is she athletic.
Gina needing to be more forthcoming with her apology, with an apology of her own. she did not. She did so in response to
Right.
what.
But was that sincere?
Right. In response to what Clint did, but at the same time, it didn't seem like it was authentic to me. It was something like you said, just to say, I guess she did it because Clint pointed out to her, the offense that he took with some of the things that she came out of her mouth that I don't think she should have come out
Yeah.
with. But I think that for her not to be, I guess candid and upright that way, that kind of even served to piss off Clint even more so.
Right. Because you got to know when you hear the term red-headed stepchild,
Right.
that there's a reason that the stepchild is red-headed because they're not
Or
treated
described
well.
as, yeah,
They're deemed as bad
different.
or
They're
different
different in a
or strange.
negative way.
In fact, they had women through the centuries who were burned at the stake because people believed that because they had red hair, they were witches. Once you recognize that this is a slur, just change the way you talk about stuff.
You know, but I just don't understand how, she's not taking ownership or her ownership of her part in how this went down. I can
Rome,
understand
I may
some of what she said.
understand some of what she's
I
saying,
do.
but at the same time, at 35, you cannot be stuck on stupid. Start understanding and believing that you are beautiful. And as grown women, our self-esteem gotta get to come up. And who does the work for that? Yourself.
And then once you do the work, you begin to have reflected back to you the results, the positive.
Right.
If you begin to carry yourself with that idea or that notion and that acceptance of yourself and how that can be attractive to somebody else, guess what? Brothers will start walking up to you saying, mm, you look good. And then and what the translation means is checking it. Yeah,
Hold on to your fat ass. If we weren't in camera, I'll ask him to hold on to it.
there's a whole lot. So let me shut up.
See what I
Let
mean?
me shut up.
You see what I'm talking about?
No, what? What are you talking about?
Always go too far.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Let me reel it back, y'all. I'm sorry. Stop me when I'm listening.
Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for sending us your comments. And don't let anybody out there tell you you're not beautiful. Look in that mirror right where you are. Right here, right now, you are beautiful.
And all the men who like fat asses, raise your hands.
God, you need help.